Right, so the first sifim are the shilas in the Maimer, and then there are all the inyanim in the pnim, the mahalach, which is basically from sif hey through ches, and then comes the answers. And Kimeduber, the answers are nicht in ganzen l'cheira, they're written very, very bekitzer. And sometimes you read the question, you read the answer, and you feel like you're back at square one. You don't really see how this thing was answered. Okay, for me it was hard to hear myself. You could hear me, yeah? So there are a few shilas, right? And the shilas are in Sif Aleph and Beis, and then are basically said again in Sif Dalid, just in a different form. If here we're speaking about Nes V'Teva, in Aleph and Beis we're speaking about Nes V'Teva, in Dalid we're speaking about Das Zol and Das Tachlim. The shilas are in Zol B'Shilas. So we have a few in Yonim here. What are the shilas in Sif Beis? The shilas in Sif Beis are that he says that through the avodah of Mesiras Nefesh, we're mamshich antu chad into the Eser Spheres. Through antu chad being nimshach in the Eser Spheres, we have the gilui of l'mayla min hateva in teva. So, correct the shaila. Question number one is, why do we need to come to the darga of antu chad in order to have l'mayla min hateva in teva? The chayra, if what we're looking for is l'mayla min hateva, right? Because Eser Spheres is the shayrish of teva. We want to reach hecher from teva, higher than the 10 spheres. If what we're looking for is to reach higher than teva, then antu ilah, akol liloy, stima kol stimid. It's already enough. I don't need antu chad, which antu chad, when the Rebbe's Masbir goes, is atzmus ein soif. Why do you need atzmus for the ma'ila min teva? That's the first shaila. The next shaila is that why do that was darfich bichlal, regardless of where l'mayla min hateva comes from, if antu ilah or antu chad, why bichlal do I need l'mayla min hateva? Was felt in teva that I need l'mayla min hateva? And later on in the Maimer, was felt in das tachta, and as ich darf umkommen to das elyon. Why do I have to get to such a place? Why do I have to go higher? Why not? So first he says when you get to teva and l'mayla min hateva, the teva is right, the Shorish Achayis in the Nivroi is Oir HaKav. And the Oir HaKav is also Shorshoi from Oir Yitzef Lefnei HaTzimtzum. So Be'etzem, even Teva, Kav, is also Moshe Shenei Yitzef. Was darf ich ankommen zu L'mayla Teva to bring me a Gilui of Oir Yitzef? Teva itself is Moshe Shenei Yitzef. In the Sprach of Das Tachtin, Shtei Adei Yisei Emes, Das Tachtin is also Emes. So why do I need Das Elyon to come to Das Tachtin? Lashon HaYadua L'mevi Echad Be'echad, Lashon HaZoyar. Why do I need Das Elyon and come to Das Tachtin? Das Tachtin is enough. Elamah, was darfst du? You need its Shoyresh. Okay, so get to its Shoyresh. You don't need the other thing. You don't need L'mayla min hateva, Nes, and you don't need Das Elyon. Elamah, wollt man gekennt sagen, that was darf ich ankommen zu L'mayla min hateva? As he says, the second keta in Sid Beis. That what's the purpose of l'mayla min teva? Taka teva itself has a high shayrish, but teva, as we know, is explained by Riches later in the Maimer. Tubu b'yam. So teva is behel and behester. Teva is consistency. So every day the same things are happening. So even though, as it brings later, that really teva is also nisim, but nisim tmidim, but we don't see it. Teva is my little master. So then I have a nes. A nes opens my eyes. Right? When someone experiences a nes, they have an epiphany. It's yes, it's the Nebush Raffinveld. And once you realize that it's the Nebush Raffinveld, you're able to recognize the likus in teva as well. Ube'etzem, you could say the same nekudah when you get to Das Elyon and Das Tachtin. The be'etzem Das Tachtin is also Moshe Shenei Yitzef. But Das Tachtin, you look at it, it seems that it's saying Lamata yes, the belt of the you don't see its mocker. So when you have Chibur of Das Elyon, Das Tachtin, it's Megal the Pnimius of Das Tachtin. But then Kumda is that we're not looking for the Chibur. The Chibur is not the point here. We don't really need L'mayla min hateva. We don't really need Das Elyon. We have it all in Teva. We have it all in Das Tachtin. I need these other inyanim as classes. You have to open our eyes. So Suchayra, you could chasim in a sefer. It's an added accessory. It's you're putting on glasses. It's a light bulb. It's not the Zachale. So those are the shaylas. Fine. Them is the ganze Arichas from the Maimer. Then he comes to Sif Tes and Sif Yud, Yud Aleph, and basically says, right? As we spoke about Arichas last week, that be'etzem, what's the pshat shtei adeis im emes? Not only shtei adeis im emes, that even this that lamata yesh or lamayla ayin, and even the anhoga tivis, be'etzem is mushrish in Eirin Tzoif. It has a shoyrish, but it itself says a different story, right? Because the story of Teva is Helam Hesrar Nelikos. The Das Tachtin is that there's Metzias on Ivroim, that's different from Nelikos. And then I need Lamaylam and Teva and Das Eli to tell me a different story. That's one side of Das Tachtin. Then there's the Pnimius of Das Tachtin. The Pnimius of Das Tachtin is as was is Das Tachtin and what is Teva? Rotzen. Right? We spoke about Barichitz and it's the Miloy Rotzen of the Eibishter. So it's not only mushrish there, it actually is a bitui of Eirin Tzoif. Fine. So now, if the Shaila, in a way, by saying this point, it brings out even a bigger Shaila. Ibazei. So right there, what do I need? Da'aseli. What do I need? Let's keep it more simple. I'm going to get to Sif Beis. What do I need? L'mayla min hateva. L'mayla min hateva. So what are you saying, Sif Beis? What would be the Chayra? What was the Hava minute? That the L'mayla min hateva tells me the truth about Teva. No, so what's Zakman there? So now he says, in Sif Yod Aleph, Zeh shegam das Tachtin hu emes, v'achol b'kein tzorach nis achibur the das Tachtin v'das Elyon. Das Tachtin is emes, as explained by Riches in Sif Yod, because it is a bitui of L'mayla adikates. Nevertheless, I need the chibur. Ki inyan ha'emes das Tachtin hu mipnei she'nyoni b'pnimius yo'gili l'mayla adikates. Taka das Tachtin is emes. But that's the pnimius of Das Tachtin, right? The way we see Das Tachtin, from our perspective, we see Das Tachtin as screaming, Ich bin da, I exist. And not I exist because someone wants me to exist. I exist because I exist. The pnimius of Das Tachtin is that what's the Metzias O'Elov, the Eibishter reveals as Das Tachtin, right? So because of that, Inyan Zeh Shaboy, so why do I need Das Elyon? Inyan Zeh Shaboy, Miskala, Yedei Achibur Shaloim Das Elyon. That Dafka through it connecting to Das Elyon, that is Megala, that truth. That's when they get to Das Tachtin Das Elyon. Similarly, there also meaning Hanogas Ateva. The Taka Hanogas Ateva is Zesha Antu, the Pikas Sartikun Hanogas Vainomin. We call Mokim Hashlemos and Hanogas Ateva, Ukshanim Shach Boy Agilu Shalomayla Miateva. Kayidei Zadafka Miskala, that when's the Shlemos of Teva, when the Gilu of Lamayla Teva comes into it. Why? And this is the Shaila of the Maimer. Kayidei Zadafka Miskala Shoin Hanogas Vainomin Shorshim Chinasan. Because Dafka, when Lamayla Teva comes into Teva, then it's Niskala, this Indian, that what's the truth of Teva, what's the pnimis of Teva? Chinasan, that's the Eibishter himself. Right? Pashta Shaila, this was the question. Our question in the end of Sif Beis was that all Lamayla min Teva does is it's Megala, the truth of Das Tachtin. Yeah, they're just Megal the truth. But really, it's not. We don't need Lamayla min Teva. We were looking for Teva. The Shleimus is Teva. Lamayla min Teva is just an accessory. So back to the Shaila, why do we say the Shleimus is Lamayla min Teva Shminushach in Teva? So the answer is that the Shleimus is that in Teva, when Lamayla min Teva is Shminushach in Teva, why is that the Shleimus? Because then Dafke Miskala showing the Mamsh is all the same Oisius. That Lamayla min Teva is Megal, the previous of Teva. So this whole Maimer, what did we explain? Right? So what's the benefit on that? And Nachmer L'Cheira, our beer only makes it harder. Because our beer is that Teva itself is Antu Ilah, Antu Chad, and Das Tachtin itself is a Bitui of Eirin Tzoif. So this L'Cheira just makes this more extreme and brings out the point even more that the whole purpose of Lamayla min Teva and Das Elyon is just to reveal what's already there. So how does this whole Maimer help us get to this? What is it helping us? It keeps us in the same place. But let's go with that. And then we have some time. We'll go to the next Sif. Right, the next Sif. Anyone who got to Sif Yud Beis? At least in one round. Cooked up them a shtickle. Fine. So the next Sif, it speaks about in the Lashon that it uses, that there's the Inyanim in Oirein Soif, and then there is Atzmos. So in the Pnim of Sif, he speaks about the Inyanim in Oirein Soif versus Atzmos, and then in the Ara 46, he creates there's two levels to B'yachol. There's Yechoilas and there's Oirein Soif. The Pashtus Yechoilas is one with Atzmos, though sometimes we kricht abyssal and we'll make a distinction between, you can call it a distinction. In other words, Atzmos is Yechoilas, but Yechoilas isn't Atzmos, meaning Atzmos is not limited by Yechoilas. Yechoilas, on a very dactylic level, is an expression of Atzmos. So, even Klolis for this Maimer, in the Maimar he calls it Eretz Soif and Atzmos, and the Hari calls it Eretz Soif and Yechoilas. Two levels of Chibur. Hopefully we'll get to that. Okay, so first we're going to get to this Inyan. But if anyone got to this word, what did you think when you get to Sif Yud Aleph? What's the pshat? Da is Gilui and Da is Gilui. So what changed? What's the memo? Huh? You're not on video, don't worry. Our shaila at the end of Sid Beis was that what's the purpose of the Maimer Teva? Just be Megala, the Pnimis of Teva. Right? L'cheira, the Maimer, it's mashma, the Vidikev is Lashon is mashma, that the purpose, that there's a something, a davar chadash, right? There's value to the Maimer Teva itself, in Mishach Teva, not just for Teva. And what does he say in Sif Yud Aleph when he actually gives the beer? What does he say? That what does the Maimer Teva do? It's Megala, the Inyan of Teva. But it's very fanim. To understand what he's saying, he says a very, very bekitzer. The parashas you look in Sif Yud, there's saying the Mahalech, the way it seems from the way that Rebbe uses the Lashonos in Sif Yud, and from there we'll see if we can get to Sif Yud Beis and how it connects to Sif Yud Beis. So in Sif Yud he says like this: we speak about L'maylo. He says that in Das Tachtin there's two Eifanim. There's two ways, two perspectives of understanding Das Tachtin. There's Lamata Yesh, because the Mata Mitzad Atzma is Yesh, it's a Mitzias, it's Taka Mitzias. In other words, we're speaking about such a level, such a perspective, either the Tachtin is looking at it, or even a Dargan Alikus, that already gives an Asina Smokim for Nivroim. A Tifre Beer in Das Tachtin is that what is in Yonah, Bichdei Sheyeh Gilin in the Mailadin case. Right? That what does Das Tachtin, what is the identity of Das Tachtin? That he's megala the truth of Eretz Soif L'mayla case, and then he creates chiluk. He says chilukim. There's many differences. It's the same lamata yesh. It's the same das tachtin, but because of how we understand it, this das tachtin, there are going to be many, many differences. What are the differences between them? He says mea chilukim. One of the chilukim is in the first oif and if das tachtin means the world's a mitzias because it's taka mitzias, then das tachtin and das elyein are opposites. We're talking about two opposite things, and maybe somehow we have to find a way for them to meet. But they're opposites. Das Tachtin screams Lamata Yesh. Das Elyon screams Lamata is Ayin. Go meet. Schreit einen Mulvado and schreit ani vafsiyoid. Go make a chibur. Mach a shidduch. It's impossible. There's no common denominator over here. But in the second oifin, when you say Lamata Yesh, is in order that there should be the Giluya Inyan of L'mayla Adin Case. So the Rebbe says, third to the last line here, and it's I'm not sure what's in. Ha'havchis the Shtei Adeyes Hurak Batzir Shalem Aval Be'etzem Mehusa Meminyan Echad. In this case, L'mayla Adin Case, L'mata Adin Case, if we look at L'mata Yesh as an expression of L'mayla Adin Case, then Das Tachtin and Das Elyon are not really opposing each other. They're tzir, yeah. The oisius we use, the way they express the Eibishter is in two opposite ways. One expresses the Bligvol of the Eibishter by saying that the Eibishter is Alf, nothing else exists. The other one expresses the Eibishter's Bligvol, that he could be Ma'il himself and allow for something else to exist. But that's a Mahus, what's their Mahus? Their Mahus is one. What's their Mahus? Their Mahus is Giloya in Yonim Shvayin Seif. They're expressing different elements of Erin Seif. This one expresses the Ma'il, this one expresses the Ma'il Adin Case. Comes the Rebbe the next sif and says that what's the emphasis of Das Tachtin? Megala L'mayla Adin Case. Inyan Zesha Boy Miskala Yedei Achibur Shaloyim Das Elyon. How taka are we Megala the Pnimius of lamata indicates by the chibur shaloyim das elyon. First of all, what does that mean? How is the chibur shaloyim das elyon megalit? In other words, why would the chibur? Or before we understand how this answers the question of the Maimer, what are we saying? How are you? So lamata yesh has two oifanim. The way the lower, the chtsonis and the pnimius. How do we reveal the pnimius? Miskala de chibur shleim das elyon. When it's mischaber in das elyon, we're megal the pnimius. How that's what Pashtos and the Hamshach to the previous. What does it say? Someone just, that was there. Someone speaking to me. Narva then. Okay, you're right. Das Tachtein has a pnimius and a chitzonius. So the reality is we're living down here in Elam Hazeh. So when we sense Das Tachtein, Lamata Yesh. When a person feels that they're a Yesh, I'm a Mitzias. My innate sense of ego comes from this that I feel that I exist is with the caveat that I exist because the Eibishter will. That's the whole even Mitzias. The whole part of Mitzias is that it's just a sense of self. That I exist because the Eibishter wants me to. No. That this sense of Yeshus, this sense of the world being a Mitzias, is a cause that Eibishter wills it into existence. And Eibishter, not only that we should exist, but that there should be a sense of Yeshus. But even the Yeshus, the Yesh HaNivra, because he wants one to be, and this that we exist is an expression of that want, of that Ratzon. Right? But that's not the way that Yeshus works. The way we experience Yeshus is that I just exist. How do we change the paradigm? How do we create that shift? And all of a sudden I should start looking at Lamata Yesh differently. How do I do that? And not just from a seichel, so we learned the Maimir, we learned the Vart, we learned the Fabring, heard the Nikud. We're talking about something very, very deep that the whole, there's probably very little in this world that's harder than changing the perspective of Lamata Yesh. Even moving from Das Tachlit to Das Elyon, Yeshleimar, is easier than revisiting Das Tachlit. Now, moving to Das Elyon is Kipash Dazach, right? But Das Elyon, you can learn enough Chassidus and forget the Stavel, have Regoim, Shabbos, learn. You could taste Das Elyon. You know the reality, know the truth. But here we're telling you, in the world of Das Tachtin, recognize what is the mahus of Das Tachtin, of the Lamata Yesh, right? So how do we go about it? How does that happen? So the way it happens is, so in different places you'll have different mahalchim how to go about this. He says like this. This is the Akdama and Sifyud. He says that from the differences, the chilukim of these two Eifanim and Das Tachtin is the lower level of Das Tachtin, Das Elyon are Hafim. The previous of Das Tachtin, Das Tachtin work together, they go together. They don't contradict. So let's say like this. So in a way, we come to the person and say like this: you want to experience the previous of Das Tachtin. We'll go a bit of a roundabout way, Kiviyah. What are you going to do? If you'll try to find the previous of Das Tachtin from Das Tachtin itself, you can't. Because your experience of Das Tachtin is the chitzonius of Das Tachtin. We don't live. Where's the previous of Das Tachtin? In our inside. Lachar at Tzimtzum, we experience the experience of Das Tachtin. No, as long as we're lachar at Tzimtzum, that's what we're going to experience. How do you revisit your Das Tachtin? This is what you'll do. Das Tachtin is Das Tachtin. Go experience Das Elyon, but not as a way of escaping Das Tachtin. Go bring Das Elyon and Das Tachtin together. Now, how does that happen? That's a sugya. That's why one of the practical Eifanim, as he says, is when it comes to Nes B'Teva, when the Nes is Nimshach in Teva, right? So when the Nes is Nimshach in Teva, which that itself in in Baruch Hashanah, we'll talk about that more. That be'etzem in every nest that's nimshach, every nest that happens, it's not just a nest overriding teva. Every nest ultimately is nimshach into teva, right? Because even a nest, we know this is Ma'ila teva, this is Lashon teva, but at the core of every nest, teva still exists, right? Even the greatest nisim, Kriyas Yamsuf, there was still teva. There was, the clock was still ticking. People are walking. We're still breathing oxygen. Right? The world still exists. In a world of teva, nisim happens. So nisim are nislavish in teva. So the nes is nislavish in teva. And then all of a sudden, I'm looking at this. I'm like, 1 second. How could a nes and teva go together? How could das elyon and das tachtin, which are the shoyrish, which are that's at the core of nes and teva, how do they work together? They're opposites. Now, when this chibur happens, what does it do? It convinces me. It's much more than convinces me. It shows me, it's megala to me, right? It's megala to me that das el and das tachtein do not contradict. How do they not contradict? And that brings me to a deeper understanding of what das el and das tachtein is. That inside the pnimis of das el and das tachtein, they're one. So by bringing by bringing das tachtein, das tachtein, that shows me the deeper perspective of das el, the deeper perspective of teva. So right there, it's a gilui. So right there, just being megala something. So this is the including says this. A lot of times we use words. We have to, and we teach them in English. Usually, when you teach, you use gilui. How do you teach gilui? Revelation. Helam is How do you teach helam? Concealment. Gilui is revelation. But what does revelation even mean? Right? So sometimes Gilui means revelation, but sometimes Gilui means expression. Or maybe even more times in Chassidus, Gilui means, we say that a person is, that a certain koyach is a scholar. Doesn't mean it's revealed, it's expressed. So in this case, in Sif Beis and Sif Yud, we're talking about Gilui. But what do we mean by Gilui? The Gilui means something very different. In Sif Beis, and this will be the same idea when you get to Sif Dal, Das Tachtin. When we say Gilui, we're saying like this: the Ve'etzem Teva is Elikos. That's the truth. Who's running this world in Teva? Just like Nissen the Eibusher does, Teva the Eibusher is running it. But it's Behelen. I don't see it. I look at Teva. I care. Teva's master on Elikos of the truth of Teva, of what's really happening here. When a nest happens, all of a sudden I see the truth of what's going on. When we're talking about Das Tachtein, there are actually Shnei Oifanim in Das Tachtein. That's the whole word. There are two Oifanim. There's no two Oifanim in Teva. There's no Teva that's master Nelikus. There's no Teva that's run on its own. And a deeper Abban in Teva that the Eibusher is running Teva. There's one Teva. There's Teva that the Eibusher is running. I don't see it. I'm blind. So you have this and open my eyes. Now what we're saying is something much deeper. Not that there's how I see Teva and the truth. The lower level of Das Tachtein is also emes. The lower Teva is also meaning these are both Shnei Fanim in Das Tachtein, right? This higher open in Das Tachtein is the Rebbe's understanding in the Maamar Shnei Deis in emes. But the way Das Tachtein is emes in earlier Mamarim, in a different perspective, it's emes and touching Malikim. So there's that oifen, and there's the oifen of this Maamer of it's emes. It's sad that it's Mili Ritzoy Nishal HaKadosh Baruch. So now when we speak about Gilui, what are we saying? What we're saying basically is that when I have Teva, the Teva as we have it over here, Das Tachdoin on the lower level, on the lower oifen, maxes out. What L'mayla min HaTeva min Nimshach and Teva does, what Das El min Nimshach and Das Tachtin does, it brings to me the deeper oifen in Das Tachtin, the deeper oifen in Teva, which I don't have access. So here, Gilui means it becomes expressed. It's not revealing something that was just here before. It's a tifra inyan, a tifra oifen in Das Tachtin and Teva that wasn't here before. That only now I have access to. Well, V'meila, it's not just a light bulb on the outside, right? That's doing this. The chibur is actually almost creating for me, bringing to me a naya oifen in das tachtin. So yeah, what is the ultimate goal? Das tachtin and teva, but it's a different das tachtin, a different teva that we had before. That comes to me from the chibur. Only the chibur can bring that over here. So when we say gila, it's not the chibur's megala that it reveals what was here before. Megala means it expresses to me this oifen, but that's not that I have no access to before. Let me get to Sif Yudal. Yeah? What time is it? Huh? 25? 23. Fine, so I'll just say a few ways to get the Sif Yudal. Huh? We're closer. They get the Sif Yud Beis, and maybe over here I'll just start the general Nekudah. So Sif Yud Beis, the Rebbe read Veg the Inyan Azoi. The attack, the Mahalach we were going till now is Shtei the same Emes. This Betzim starts from Sif Dalet. Why are they both Emes? Because they both have a Sheirish in Eirin Soif. Eirin Soif has both in Yonim, and this we explain through Sif Yud Dalet. And because of that, not only Shtei the same Emes, but Shtei the same Echad, meaning they have the same level of truth. They're both Eirin Soif. But sof b'dakos yoiser, that's not the ultimate achdus. Bichlolus, when we say two things come from Eirin Soif, it's achdus, because Eirin Soif doesn't have pirud chas v'sholem, right? There's no levels. There's a famous shaila. I'll get that in a second. Bichlolus, it's echad, but b'piratius, Gamma in the last line there on the page, Gamma and Yonim, L'mayla indicates Matan Tachlis, the way they're in Soif are Shnei and Yonim. And in order to have the Chibur Das Tachlim and Das Elyin, the real Chibur, that it's Mamish one, and Chibur of Teva, L'mayla Min Teva, it's through Gilead Etzim Shel L'mayla Mishneh. You have to come to Gilead Etzim Shel L'mayla Mishneh. The Ari says, that there is the ultimate oneness. So we have two levels of Achdus here. We have Achdus in Eirin Soif and Achdus in Yechoilis. First of all, what's Eirin Soif and what's Yechoilis, and what's the difference in the Achdus? So here, the Sikha is a Sikha Chelik Yud Zayin. It's called very Yisodistic Sikha. You have time to learn the Sikha. I believe in the Maamar Mekoymis it's brought. Sikha Tazriya Parshas Achodesh Chelik Yud Zayin. The Yisodistic Sikha on Nes B'Tev. So there in Sif Zayin, there's a keta there that speaks about the chibur, the ichod of Nes and Teva. He says like this: the bets of Nes and Teva are two different anhagis, but that's all mitzad giluyim. In giluyim, there's two different kavim, bligvul and gvul. Then he says like this: mitzad yichoyles ha'atzmus aber zayin gvul bligvul and gvul nit kein zwei kavim. When you look inside the yichoyles ha'atzmus, bligvul and gvul are not two different kavim. It's ein inyan. What is it? Der Ausdruck von Shleimusei. Ukemaimer hayedua im toimer sheyesh leikoyach bligvul ve'en leikoyach bigvul at machaser Shleimusei. Bipnimis der Ausdruck von Yicholti Yisbarich. The ket is written very, very cryptic almost. It seems that I don't know, but I would imagine there was maybe even a Ksav Yad over here. The Kodesh Rebbe speaks like this. The Rebbe says like this. There's two in Yom the Rebbe brings it. The Rebbe uses Lashon Yechoilis, and the Rebbe uses Lashon Shleimus. And the Bipnimius there is when Yicholti Yisbarich. So here the Rebbe uses what's the Lashon the Rebbe uses here? The Rebbe uses Lashon Shleimus and Yechoilis. The Rebbe is Mitzay, and this one when the Rebbe speaks about Shleimus and Yechoilis, the Rebbe is usually Mitzay to Hamshach Tzadikei, and then Sefer Erechim. So in general in Chassidus we call Eirin Soif, we'll call it Shleimus, and the higher than that is Yechoilis. Right? Yechoilis, Lashon of Yechoilis, where is it? I think it's in Vayoylech. Right? So he brings that the Tzemach Tzedek says that he found the Ksav Yad. Yeah, where is it? It's in Vayoylech. The Ksav Yad from Alter Rebbe that he gives it the name Yechoilis, or that's where the mucker is. It's Ksav Yad from the Rebbeim. That this level is called Yechoilis. So what's Shleimus and what's Yechoilis? So Shleimus means perfection. English, yeah? Yechoilis means Right? So l'chayre means ability, but Chassidus really comes and says no. We translate as ability, but it's much deeper than that. It's much deeper. Shleimos. So you say it like this, right? The Rebbe brings the lashon, the Mamre Yedua, the Mamre of the Kodesh. Im toimer sheyesh lekoyach bligvul, im lekoyach bigvul, at mechaser shleimos. The Eibishter l'chayre is bligvul. It's bligvul. After the tzimtzum, gvul. What about the Eibishter is bligvul? We say, if you say the Eibishter is only bligvul and not gvul, you're mechaser is shleimos, because gvul is also there's a shleimos to gvul as well. And the Eibishter is tachlis a shleimos. So there can't be any shleimos out there that's not incorporated within him. So B'meila, if he's shleimos, he has a shleimos of bligvul, shleimos of gvul. In Elam Hazeh, you ultimately have, there's the greater, even the biggest milas and the biggest bal milas, inherently will also have a chisar, right? Because every mile is a chisar. So let's say you say this person is brilliant, and he's very, very quick. So it's good out, yeah. But by being very quick, inevitably that has a chisar. Not just because when you're quick you can forget things and you miss things. Because b'chlal, yeah, so someone speaks very fast. You can say a lot. That itself has within it a chisar. It's hard to understand. Right? Every mile in Elam Hazeh comes with a chisar. Very often the chisar is the mile itself, right? Because the mile itself is a Baal Midas, a Meir Dika Midas. It's emotional and very expressive. And the issue is what? He's emotional. Right? So every Indian, right, every mile has a flip side, which is a chisarin. The Eibishter is tachlis hashleimos. So even when you talk about the greatest mile, he has the mile of bligvul. The mile of bligvul is amazing. What's the issue? It's not really an issue, but the reality is, by calling it bligvul, you're saying he's missing. What's he missing? Gvul. Bligvul. That's what bligvul means. There is no gvul. So there's chisaron of gvul. Zokman, he's tachlis hashleimos. So he has bligvul and gvul. Then you'll ask, how does bligvul and gvul work together? How's that shaykh? It's not like we're saying chesed and gvur are working together. Bligvul literally means there's no gvul. Infinity and something finite is tachlis astir. But that's by us. So we're saying it's tachlis shleim. So mainly he incorporates everything together. Ein soif. Okay, ein soif. Yeah, the Eibishter is ein soif, right? He's ein soif. Bligvul is the Eibishter is ein soif. Right, if he's bligvul, then there's no numbers there, and there's no way to quantify it. So if you're not quantifying, then you're not qualifying it either. So it's inside. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. But if you understand that there's bligvul, right? So now, and yet because he's shleimos, he has it all together. Now, how could he have it together? How could he have two halachim? Because by him, it's not he has bligvul and gvul. He's not a basket that's grabbing. Yeah, you walk into the store with open bligvul EBT card, and you just and you empty out, and you make a fabring, and you empty out the shop. Yeah, it's not like swipe my credit card. You're not buying, right? In shleimos, it's not that he has a bunch of things, because even when you have a bunch of things, certain things, a bunch of things. Yeah, you certain things just don't go together. You could have unlimited money. You can't put a square into a circle, right? So, well, if it's smaller. But then the kuda is elamai. And the Eibishter, this that it goes together is because at the mechaser shleimusi. It's about his shleimus. It's not that in Erin Soy, the Eibishter Ki'ilu has a bucket list of everything. The Eibishter is tachlis hamush. He's a Muslim. He's a Muslim. When you say about this guy is a Muslim in a certain Indian. Yeah, he's a Muslim. What does he mean he's a Muslim? Muslim, you could say, okay, because he has a whole a bunch of checks, a bunch of milas. That's not what a Muslim. Muslim is, maybe a better word we call it a mukhtar. This guy is a mukhtar. What is he? He's a mukhtar. Someone that's mukhtar, he can do a bit of, right? It's shaykhs to everything. Why? Because there's an nekuda atzmi that's called the shleimus. He has a shleimus. This shleimus incorporates everything. So Mele, he has this and he has that, and they're not a stereo because all of them are what? They're a bitoy of his shleimus. They're a bitoy of his shleimus. So this is b'chlal the nekuda of shleimus the way it is by Erin Seif. We say Lamaila Adin Kates, Lamata Adin Tachlis. He's going up or he's going down? What's going on here? It's Shleimus. Mitzad Shleimus, it could go in any direction. Tachlis Ahelim, Tachlis Agilui. But then comes Yechilis. And Yechilis comes and says, very nice. But for in Shleimus, there are two things here. Right? Because until now we said that Shleimus is Be'etzem Achdus. Not like Das down here that they're two Hafchim, Lamaila, they're one. Meaning, in Eurein Soif, what's the Lashon here? Yesh le koyach bli gvul, and he has a koyach b'gvul. Why? Because without them, atam mechaser shleimusay. These are the key words. Atam mechaser shleimusay. You're basically saying if the Eibishter didn't have either bli gvul or gvul, it would be missing his shleimus. Now, what does that mean? What do you mean missing his shleimus? By saying that the mechaser shleimus, you're basically saying that these things have value. Bli gvul has value, and gvul has value. What's their value? They have shleimus. In other words, the Eibishter has shleimus. Because he has shleimus, anything that has shleimus, he has. Not because he takes it, but because inherently, by being a Muslim, you have that. But what do you have? He has in yonim of shleimus. What about in yonim that are not shleimus? What about in yonim are chisarim? Right? If I would say that gvul is only a chisar and not shleimus, then lavdafki he has it. Because what is he? He has shleimus. He is not shleimus in the kula. Because even gvul has shleimus, because every mitzias in Vel, every mitzias that exists on any level, even the lowest of the low, has epis and a kuda, a maila. If it has a maila, he has to have it. Because he is tachas shleimus. So he can't be missing anything. If he'd be missing something, it would be right? It would be something missing, an issue with the shleimus. So we could talk about the Eibishter and these things, these mitziasin, these things that exist within him, that are incorporated within him in order, and they compromise and they create his mitzias, his shleimus. Vashenke Yechoyle is something completely different. Yechoyle is the Narem. There's nothing else. There's him. There's the Eibishter. We call ability, but Yechoyle means kol yachol. Yechoyle means he is, and he more than ability. It's probably he can. Even that, I'm not sure if it's the right word. Yechoyle means there's the Eibishter. Is there bli gvul? If he wants. Is there gvul? If he wants. Is there right? These things don't even exist. They don't exist. They don't mean anything to him. They're not chisarim. They're not shleimus. They're not anything. Right? The lashon Yedua in Samach Vav that's always brought that the Eibishter is shlilas achio v'shlilas ashlila uvemeila yesh bayakel. Any things are mushal from him, and the shlila of those things is mushal from him. Meaning he's not connected or disconnected from anything. Elamah, what is that? There's him. Uvemeila yesh bayakel. He wants this, there's this. He wants that, there's that. It's Yecholis. In Yecholis, it's Taka one. There aren't things that are incorporated within him. It's the MLA. When you speak about Yecholis, b'yachas to shleimus, b'yachas to erin soif, you could say that here there are kavim and here there aren't kavim. That's the theme of the Maimer. The dafka mitzad this, the Rebbe comes to the vart of Dirib Tachtoinim, you see in the Maimer, which was the say that the Rebbe ultimately, no matter what the sugi is, it boils down to the Kudah Dirib Tachtoinim. Look, L'chaim.
The whole minor is
not necessarily.